Alexander. Hello.
Hi, Paulina.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Delighted to be here with you again. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second installment, or the second half, I should say, of our last episode, Dating and Relationships Across Cultures. I'm Alex, and this is my lovely co-host, Paulina.
Thank you very much for such a nice introduction. All right. Do you remember where we were?
I
Uh,
remember vaguely that you were telling me about how soon Russians tended to introduce their significant others to their families.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we discussed something like that. So, and it was about several months. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yes, yes, it was several months for Russians. And I think for Americans, I might have given a broader range because it depended on so many factors to do with the way the current sociology is developing. You have different people who may grow up more socially awkward with parents who they feel have interfered in their lives, and therefore they will spend more time concealing their relationships from their parents, either out of shyness or out of dislike for what they perceive as their parents' interference in their personal lives. And then you have other people who will introduce their significant others more quickly to their families because they have what they feel is a balanced relationship within their family unit. And they don't have any of these psychological issues, so to speak, if I can use such terminology. But I imagine really it's probably very similar in Russia.
Um, I tend to disagree because I've heard that in the United States, people originally can date without a goal for marriage, for example, while in Russia, we are from the beginning yeah, aimed to proceed seriously. Yeah. Is it so? Can you say something about it?
In general, I would observe that people, women especially, there's probably a lot of guys who maybe tend to think of themselves as playing around a little bit more. But there's also been a lot of transformation over the last 20 years socially. For a
Like what?
long time, the United States was known as a place where people were not very serious, right? This is where it got that kind of reputation. But
Yeah.
now,
Not
with the
only
change in climate,
I can interrupt you. Not only are they not serious, but they treat it as a normal. That's what I'm not serious, but that's okay. That's a cultural norm. That's how I perceived it.
yes, that it was true for a very long time. And that sort of reputation, it still lingers amongst certain people, I suppose. But in general, I have to say I've observed a tremendous change because of the economic circumstances, which are impacting all of us worldwide. But just as much in the countries which have or are thought of as having very powerful currencies. These social transformations are leading people to take life more seriously and to have less time for games. And it's actually quite amazing to see people in my age bracket, which is considered to be Gen Z, actually have a very almost a type of conservative attitude towards life, a neo-conservative attitude towards life. Whereas, although from the outside, I suppose older generations looking at us, it may not appear to be that way.
That's an interesting observation. So these all cultural things like which I suppose it yeah, originally came from the United States, like situationship, hookups. They are as far as I understood here, they are already rare.
I wouldn't say that they are rare, but now they are restricted, I think, to certain subcultures, like maybe the more radical, what some people term as liberal fringes. Um, Certainly, those who are of a LGBTQ persuasion, they tend to have a more loose and free-flowing attitude towards life, so that they certainly and have always been quite well known to have a casual attitude towards such matters, even back in other parts of history. That continues to this day, and there are certain subcultures to do with the musical and film scene here who may still adopt that sort of general behavior pattern. But I'll perfect example. I went on another date last night,
Mhm.
a first date, with a woman, actually. I think she's in her mid 30s, but she hasn't really dated much in her entire life. And she just got out of a long 15-year relationship, which she'd been in
Mm.
um, since she was like, yeah, early 20s or late teens or something like that. So she's actually not that experienced, which is interesting. And there's a lot more people out there here that are like that than the popular culture may make it seem, where the music videos are showing this kind of, crazy lifestyle, party, 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 whatever it is. But the
Mhm.
reality of life is much more boring. And really, I think we deceive ourselves about a lot of conditions in the world today because of an excessive consumption of entertainment media. Doesn't quite show the reality.
Yeah. While listening to you, I want you to a little bit say, what are the groups which you call like a radical? What is the kind of community can be radical? Is that are they Americans, Native Americans, and they can be radical? For which reason they are, can be, just briefly, I'm just curious. Are they Christian or what makes them radical? Briefly, please.
Well, the term radical here is generally used to refer to someone of a liberal persuasion, although that is not an entirely all-encompassing description of what the word means. In general, the word, as you may well be aware, the word radical refers to an expression of the extremity of measure as is being used to pursue the end goal. But in this sense, radical generally means more liberal, per se. They say radical left of center, or such silly terms as this. But these terms actually have meaning here, and they describe a certain general political milieu. The groups I was referring to generally would be more associated with um, university politics, politics at the collegiate level, which is where a lot of those of the liberal political persuasion have always tended to gather their focus for whatever they wish to push forward through the society. Also, subcultures that are associated with the music industry or the film industry, uh, general scenes like this. But there are many, many of them, and it would be very hard to
Yes,
label them
of
all.
course. That's why I told you, yeah. Otherwise, we will have another episode separate about this. Um, okay. So, Last time we discussed like that there's a certain stage of dating, yeah. Like so in Russia, that's also like if you say met in some dating websites, so then so some days of talking, messaging, then going on a date, and then relationship, and usually if they start then they are serious, and then probably maybe engagement, yeah, and marriage. Do you for example in Russia we actually I think we don't have especially like this stage like engagement as it is, because for example in India they very much highlight this, they are engaged. Yeah, because in Russia, they are either serious, but no one will announce this engagement. And if we speak, for example, about how do people propose, then also I think this is not very much a show here, like we are used mm, to see everywhere, like people propose in some in a very casual places, let's say uh, somewhere in the nature, or in the cruise or somewhere. We don't have this. Some people do, but we don't do this in public. It's more about just giving a like offering a ring, um, and it can be done in a very private, uh, um, let's say, surrounding. And as I remember, one of my friend, I was even amazed, and I still remember. She said, like, my husband proposed me. We were sitting in the kitchen and in his kitchen drinking tea, and then he some I don't know where he took this. Yeah, but it turned out that he was keeping it in the bathroom. He brought a bunch of flowers and proposed, and it was so cute, and it was the best thing which I would wish to have. And so nothing like a without fireworks. This is, I think, it's a more common way here in Russia. So what is it there?
Well, here people do tend to, I mean, once upon a time, I would say things were very romantic indeed. Um, Now, what is it like now? I would say that there are so many different types of people here now. It's the United States is very much resembling the United Nations in terms of its demographic, that the different cultures have their different inputs, for sure. However, in terms of what people think of as American practice, I would say it tends more towards the romantic. Certainly, uh, private life, in private life, I would say if you're proposing marriage to someone, you'd better have done a very good job in preparing your proposal
Mhm.
because a woman likes to be impressed by these things. And I would imagine it would be the same in Russia, although I guess from what you're telling me, it's more of a private affair. But I think now people probably have more of a private, pragmatic attitude towards these things, maybe than they did in a few decades ago because of financial considerations and the changing economic landscape.
Mhm. So um, you think that the woman, any woman, right? As I got from your words, will estimate her values by this type of the way the propose done, right? Is it?
Yes, yes, yes. I actually only ever met one woman in the course of my life who actually had an almost business-like attitude about marriage. It actually really shocked me. Usually, most women like a poetic explosion, so to speak.
Yeah. So women are women everywhere, right?
I think so. Yeah, certainly in my life experience.
What are the traditional expectation there in the United States? Because when you open Instagram and you see like some guys, Russian guy, I've quite recently met a real when he was talking like women here in the United States are much more like maybe convenient, like better to live with. If I have a problem with money, I can call her and she would give me any amount of money immediately. While in Russia, like she will be like shocked if I ask her for this. Um,
That's very interesting to hear that you've discovered such a post because that flies directly in the face of the last 30 years of wealthy old Western men going off on these crazy tours to find women in Eastern Europe for one reason or another.
so why do
It
they
seems
do
like
that?
people are always seeking whatever is over the next hill, whether or not it is actually better for them. Isn't that interesting?
So do I understand you correct that people there are seeking for women here, but at the same time, you mean at the same time, um, guys here seeking for women there in the United States, thinking that
Well,
something.
given what you have just told me, I find it very interesting that there's always been sort of it's been a terrible, terrible cliche, as you may well
Mm,
be aware, of
yeah.
a certain type of man coming from here and going to Eastern Europe or to the Philippines or wherever. There's a
Mhm.
few of these countries that are very stereotypical for that, and trying to find a woman there because he just can't deal with women here or whatever the reason is. And now you've pointed out a post to me of the situation in reverse. So I find that to be very, very interesting and ironic. And it seems there's a lot of that tells me there's a lot of social instability within every society now, and a kind of not only an inability within the society to deal with the social issues that are there, but also a kind of wishful thinking and easy solution seeking amongst
I think it's
people.
all about, because of globalization, people are opened to everything and they are able to hear some kind of other, let's say, views, mindsets, and they just choose the one which fits them. They think, okay, fits their character, fits their mentality, for example, or
Hmm.
if they think that, okay, I want a woman to be equal for me, yeah? Because I maybe it's a kind of his temper, his character, his features, um, inclinations. Yeah. So he is looking for the type of women which fits this category. And they can be, for example, they can be like, let's say, Philippines, yeah, or an opposite way. And this is, I think, how it goes right now.
It certainly seems to, yes. In terms of the how the attitude is towards traditionalism here, in regards to your question, I definitely think that people here, I don't know who this particular gentleman from Russia is dealing with per se, but I would say that in general terms, uh, women here who have grown up in a normal environment, psychologically speaking, still wish to be courted and still wish to be treated like women. And men here still want to feel like men. And this is why you can see here so much of the opposite political uh, inclination as now embodied in the current president that the country has. And not to go into politics, but different administrations of a political nature certainly have different psychological leanings behind them. And I think you and I can both see that, and I'm sure our listeners can see that as well.
Yeah, that's a kind of relief to hear. So, when women getting married, so they expect from a man to be a provider, yeah, to be responsible for finances and
Yeah.
decisions. I mean, there, because here in Russia, yeah, I think roles and everything is like we have kind of maybe I can't say that it's a stigma, but still it's more or less rigid here, yeah. So a man is a um mm, should show strength, be responsible for finances and decisions, and also should be a kind of initiator for everything. So of course, and women expected to be like responsible for home, children, and maybe take care about all this stuff. Um, and this feminine nature is very much um, important, emphasized here. Um, what is there? So in general, you say this is like absolutely the same because we are, we are. For us, it's common to think that in America is something is different, like people are equal and some, let's say, in some couples, one spouse, I mean, the male spouse stays at home while female uh, goes to earn money. This is what we are, like, what we are listening, what we're hearing from like just
Well,
from a distance.
it is certainly what you will hear if you are sitting down and listening to Vladimir Solovyov every night over there, as I understand it. But such people always present a kind of very a view that is imbued with the political stream that is demanded of them at the time. In terms of sociological reality on the ground, yes, those things do exist, those kinds of behaviors that you just mentioned. However, they are more limited to what we would call, what I was illustrating in the beginning, those radical types of people, those radical groups who are always challenging social historical norms and are always trying to turn the world upside down deliberately in their own lives and in the lives of others. In general terms, nature takes its course, and the
Mhm.
natural male and female roles are always preserved. Um, in terms of culture in general, Americans can be more pragmatic. Um, there isn't a problem with both the man and the woman working in order to support the household. What the woman doesn't want to see, however, is that the man is just sitting around doing nothing. Then she will be
But
but
is it still okay if the woman does this, right? Am I
it
correct?
it can be, yes, if economics permits.
Hmm.
But American culture is a very going back to the 1700s. in a way, one of the better things about American culture is it's a very practical culture. People do what is necessary to see that the end goal is achieved. And ceremony can be dispensed with if it is necessary. Where perhaps in Russia, I don't know. I always generally think of Russians as also being a very practical people in their own way. But perhaps such ceremonial types of behavior patterns are, in a way, still more important there.
Mhm. What is a typical marriage age there? Because in Russia, I would say it would be for women, let's say when they finish university, so that's 23, and then up to 28. And for men, a little bit more, maybe from 26 up to 32. I guess that's would be some kind of average numbers. What is there?
In general, here, the average age of marriage is dictated by how attractive one is. Because,
Tell me more
because,
about it.
because there's no longer, since there hasn't been for several generations, a natural, ordered social structure like you'll see in the Caucasian societies where everyone gets some type of a partner or spouse almost supplied to them. If somebody is left alone for too long, a husband or wife is just kind of found for them. Here, there's nothing like that. So I have never known a super attractive guy or girl here who wasn't married almost by the age of 18 or 19 and maybe even had a kid at 20. If people are unlucky, they don't have much of a social network, or they're just average looking or even ugly, they can get struggle to marry up until the age of 40, whether they're a man or a woman. So that's generally how it works here.
Oh, I suppose. Okay. I know at least I know the reason. Oh, okay. Good.
But yeah, here, if you're attractive, somebody is going to grab you very, very young, whether you're
Hmm.
male or female.
Hmm. All right. Um, but there can be also some kind of psychological reasons. Yeah, okay, because some people they even if they are attractive, they can still be just free. I mean, single. Hmm. Is it?
Yes, and there are always those people who enjoy playing lots of games in life, and we all know who those people are. We meet them in our own day-to-day lives, and
Yeah.
we see the patterns. Oh, I've been married twice. Oh, I've had 10 boyfriends in the last 10 years. Right? We all know these types of people, and we can see who they are. And those are always the outliers in every society.
You said getting married at 18. This is not common in Russia, I would say. Getting married at 18 without finishing, without graduating the university, it sounds like something like no, no.
Well, it depends again on the subculture. Uh, in the old kind of in the American Midwest, where people are not so have not always been so concerned about getting a college education. They just start working right away. They're simple, straightforward people. There is no reason to delay anything, right?
Mhm.
You get
Yeah.
married
Mhm.
to your high school sweetheart, and that's it.
And I also
And this,
think, pardon.
yes, go
I
ahead.
also think that it's quite easy. I mean, in America, it's the perception of divorce is not that terrible like here in Russia. So they think like, all right, if things don't go well, then we will divorce and I'll go my way. I'll find another one. correct? Is it right?
Yes, that is true. I would say that, and I'm sure this is true in Russia as well. Um, Somebody who has been divorced once is not a problem. If someone is divorced twice and above, then people start to think maybe, well, this person doesn't really know what they're doing. And so they start to look a little more hesitant about becoming involved with such a person because, if they have such a problem keeping things together, why would it be any better with me? But I'm sure that that's a very human thought process.
Mm,
In Russia, I know they've, for a long time, also had a very high divorce rate, statistically speaking.
mm.
So I'm surprised actually that divorce is treated with any more disdain in terms of a social attitude than it would be in the United States. Perhaps you can tell more about that.
Before this episode, I've checked the statistics, and it's a very high. Globally, talking about the world, the Russia has the highest rate, well, not the highest, but one of the highest rate of divorce. But yeah, still it is criticized among people, and I am sometimes amazed, like people of my age, or even like something like late 30s, they expect their, I mean, new partner after divorce, they expect their new partner to be never married. And for me it's like, oh come on, you were married, you divorced, and now you expect like a white sheet of paper in front of
Mm.
you. And for me, for example, at my age, I don't expect the guy to be single. And if it happens, I will be surprised a little bit. And I even will be like a little bit suspicious about what kind of person he is actually. Uh, Yeah, but
I think in this day and age, we shouldn't be, because now we live in such a time of social transformation, all of us together, that it's very difficult for people to have even a standard model for life. Uh, at least this is what I observe. I mean, I know people who it just seems to depend on your personal energy and your charisma. I knew a guy. Uh, I've known guys who have never been married and they're 40, and then I've known guys who have been, as I said before, divorced twice or married
yeah,
to one person for the whole time, or it's entirely there is no more. But this isn't a negative comment on any of their situations as people. This is a it's because of the life that they were forced into by the circumstances they were born into. I can personally attest that it's not just because there's something wrong with them. It's a whole number of things put together that
yeah.
just happen.
When we go on relationship, we should treat everyone individually. I mean, to see the case. Um, um, okay, I think we have the last question to discuss today. Is it any pressure to marry early from family, from um, like maybe social kind of expectation? Um, because here in Russia, we definitely have it. And it sometimes feels like if I go abroad, then I won't have this pressure. And I feel okay if I'm not married at my late 30s, for example. Um,
Mhm.
because here, whenever you come, like, reach them this 30s, that would be like a limit here when you certainly recommended, yeah, certainly advised to find a partner already, and better to be married by this. And so if you meet a woman, people here, so for example, some neighbors, they can dare to express even concerns, like asking, like, not married yet. Oh, so this and well, one of my friends, she is always deeply hurt by this remarks by her neighbors, some people, not her relatives, but some people who know her, and she doesn't know what to answer, because it's from her point of view, that's not their business. And but and but still she's hurt. While I'm okay when someone asks me that are you still single? Yeah, I'm fine. I can even say something about it quite in a quite transparent way. But I know that people are very much concerned. What is there?
Well, here I can honestly say, outside of maybe certain subcultures who live in their own little world that are of a very conservative orientation, such as Mormons, the Orthodox Jewish community, certain subcultures like that. In general, people here do not feel any sort of pressure to get married by a certain age. Not until maybe they're around their mid to late 30s, then maybe parents might say something. But again, it's not like an insistent pressure. And in general, people are left alone to live their lives as they see fit.
Hmm. I see. Well, well, that was a very interesting conversation. Thank you very much for sharing uh, this. So I think we should record a very interesting episode about those type of relationship which are very modern, like situationship, and discuss it a little bit more broadly. What do you think about it?
I couldn't agree more. I'm already feeling the hairs on the back of my neck stand up with all of the crazy concepts that I could certainly expose.
Yeah,
Plenty
it
of
would
stories.
be very interesting to discuss. So let's meet soon and do this. And so far, I'm
Absolutely.
telling you goodbye, and have a good night.
I wish our listeners good night, and I wish you good night, Paulina, and I very much look forward to our next discussion. Bye for now.
Bye.